Last one here, theism. James, this is a big, is kind of nail in the coffin type objection, is that theism lacks explanatory power because you have a God that can do anything. It doesn't actually explain anything because God, you could just say God did it, like for absolutely any event. And what I'm going to say is like, yeah, God could do anything, but that's not how I try to use God to explain things. I would appeal to things like God's character and whatnot, like and to explain things, and that actually does give me a principled way of explaining, of trying to explain to, or sorry, that gives me a principled way of appealing to God's explanatory power. And that, and if I'm consistent with that, then I'm going to say things like embodied moral agents, they are better explained by God, and suffering is not as well explained by God. So there is actually an analysis you could do there if you keep God's character in back of your mind when you're doing this. Obviously, this can be abused by like just stipulating, oh yeah, God's character is what exactly matches the data out there. But if you don't do that, if you're just consistent, oh yeah, God is this a perfect being who just does, morally best stuff, then you can actually appeal to him as an explanation.
I do think
Oh, sorry.
you revealed your Laugh-In slide. I wanted to save it.
Oh,
I do want to say
sorry.
here. I just add something to add. I know it's like over. We have to redo the stream now. But yeah, no. I just think like with regards to like what James is saying here, like he talks about this like even with like the case for the resurrection, where it's like we have no idea like what we'd expect God to do. And I think this is a problem for like the problem like if you want to run a problem of evil argument, because those go along the idea of like we expect God to maybe not allow like animal suffering, but we do have animal suffering, so this is evidence against God. But the skeptical theist, like I'm not a super big fan of skeptical theism, but like what James says, especially with regards to like explaining God's actions where God could do anything, skeptical theist could have like a fun time with what James says, because if we just have no idea what like God would do or not do, like that's something similar to what the skeptical theist wants to say. And sorry if you're skeptical theist squared and I just roasted skeptical theism. But like I do think that like
No,
it just leaves these things open that are very interesting and could pose problems for like atheistic arguments. So yeah.
Yeah.